Hi, everyone. Welcome once again to my YouTube channel, Dr. Quezero TV, and to my show in English, Ask the Cheese Doctor. This is an open window for anyone who wants to learn how to make cheese and doesn't speak Spanish and they only speak English. And the idea is that English speakers can learn as well how to learn how to make cheese. That's my idea, right? I have a show in Spanish as well at 9:30 New Zealand time each Saturday. So today I have two shows. The one in Spanish first, and then the second is the one in English. Okay. Today we're going to talk about cheese troubleshooting. Sometimes when we make cheese, things don't happen as we expected, and we have. I'm going to teach you the most common problem that we have when we are making cheese. This is the second part because the last part, the first part one, was last week. So, but anyway, I'm going to give like summary of the first five. I'm giving 10 problems. I already explained five, but I'm gonna review the first five really quickly. Okay, so we can carry on with it. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, please be more than welcome. You can ask anything. I haven't failed so far. And we are 24,537 subscribers. Thank you very much. From last week to this week, we have increased 300 subscribers, which I really appreciate it. Spread the voice that I exist. If you, I am specialized in South American cheeses, but I also can make any type of cheese. And this show is to teach you how to make any type of cheeses. So if you want to learn, be my guest. New platform. We're also in TikTok. I just started. I just opened my account in TikTok. So we're gonna start posting content in TikTok very soon. So if you want to, sometimes you follow TikTok because it's your favorite platform, and just subscribe. It's the same, Dr. Quesero TV. Look for me in TikTok and subscribe on my channel, and I will start lodging content very, very, very soon. Okay. I won't be able to do live yet because I have to have 1,000 subscribers. So spread the voice. I want if you can help me out to reach 1,000 subscribers by subscribing by you subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. After I have 1,000 subscribers, I will be able to do live with the platform that I'm using today, which is Restream. I use Restream. Okay. We are broadcasting through YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and now Telegram. So if you have a Telegram group, the group is Dr. Quesero TV. Same. Okay. So you can subscribe in Telegram. You can follow me, or you can watch the show as well in Telegram. If if you want to make a comment, I can see it through Telegram. I have my phone here. You can see it through Telegram, but it's easier for YouTube, I reckon. So I won't be able to have a look in the Telegram comment here, but I will be able to do it in my phone. So I have my phone here, and but if you are in YouTube, you can you can comment, and I will see your comments. Okay, and you can ask anything. I'm making two videos. I'm gonna start making the cheeses now. I'm gonna make requeijão, requeijão caseiro. It's like a cream cheese from Brazil. It's a different texture than the normal cream cheese. I reckon it's more yum, and it's very easy to make. And I'm gonna teach you a trick because this requeijão is made with the offcuts of other cheeses. Before your cheese expire, or even if it is expired, you can use it as well, and you can make requeijão. So I'm gonna teach you how to do it. And I'm gonna make mozzarella with homogenized milk. Someone gave me, I don't know if I'm gonna get it, but someone gave me like a way that I could make mozzarella with with homogenized milk. I don't agree there very much because what I've studied in the New Zealand cheese school is that you cannot make mozzarella with with homogenized milk. But anyway, I'm gonna give it a try. If I made it, I make it. If I don't make it, I will make maybe a very good ricotta or maybe a good fresh cheese. Let's see. I'll give you the feedback in the next week in the video. I want to post these two videos. Okay. Next year, I'm going to America. Okay, my plan is going to America because now the COVID, New Zealand is going to open the borders really soon. So I'm going to I want to travel to America for a master class. So I'm going to start organizing everything so you can attend to my master class. In my master class, it's a live event where I give you all the bit and pieces of cheese making. Okay, it's very complete. It's very good. You're gonna learn all the. I'm gonna share all the knowledge to make cheese, any type of cheese, not only South American cheese, any type of cheese. What you need to use, what is the tips, the tricks that I use. When, for example, when you make mozzarella, it doesn't stretch. What to do? I'm gonna teach you everything, and of course, I'll also teach this in my English course for beginners. I will talk to you a little bit later. At the back of my screen, you can see my book. It's the Beginner's Bible for Cheese Making. It's in Kindle, and it only costs $1, $1.5 Americans, which is very very good. So the price, I wanted to put in at this price, so the price is not an obstacle because I know that some people in South America that they speak English and they don't have access to expensive books. Well, with this book, they have the knowledge. I just do it because I want to help. And when I die, people will remember me as the guy who teach them how to make cheese. Okay, let's carry on. As I said, I'm going to America and Spain next year. I'm starting to organize my trips, and let's see. Okay. What else? That's it. That's my iPad. Okay. So let's start with the content. I'm gonna speak about the how to make cheese. Sorry, about the cheese problem. Here we are. So as I said, when we are making cheese, sometimes things don't happen as expected, and we have to do something. We have to know what to do. We have to know how to evolve. We have to know how to overcome these problems. Okay, and one of the problems is I'm gonna go quickly with it until number 5. Okay, because we're gonna have a look from number 6 to 10. Okay, in more detail. But one of the problems is that the milk doesn't curdle or doesn't coagulate because maybe you might have lack of calcium, little amount of rennet. When you rennet is the product you use to coagulate your milk. Maybe the quality of the rennet is not good or it's expired. Okay, or maybe you have a low concentration of starter cultures, which maybe because the lactic culture is expired, or you put too low or too few. Sorry, too few. Okay, or if you use ultra pasteurized milk or over pasteurized milk or homogenized milk. Okay, that's also a problem. If you use this type of milk, maybe your curd will not coagulate. Or if your milk is cold, you also will have this problem because the rennet uh, act at a certain temperature. Okay, solution: add calcium chloride. The opposite of what I've of the reason, the opposite. Add calcium chloride, increase the dose of rennet or your amount of rennet. Let the milk to coagulate a little bit longer. Okay, or let it ripen. Your milk ripen a little bit longer, so the starter can. To give time to the culture to generate lactic acid. Okay, do not use homogenized milk. Use non-homogenized milk, pasteurized milk, of course. You can also use raw milk if you are making aged cheeses, but this is your decision. Okay, problem 2: the cheese tastes too sour. Maybe one reason is because you produce too much acid, or the cheese is too moist. Okay, excessive moisture in the cheese. As I said, like excessive lactic acid, or you put too much rennet. This is one cause as well. So you need to start eliminating, or you need to start um, choosing variables. Okay, you try this. If you first check the moisture. If the moisture is fine, go to the next problem. Excessive production of lactic acid. If your lactic acid is producing correctly, go to the next problem, and so on. This is how you fix problems when you make cheese. Okay, don't attack all the variables at the same time. Attack one by one. Then you will have your and learn from the mistakes. Okay, if you have little salt, also is another reason why your cheese could taste sour, because if you have low amount of salt, the bacteria or the pathogen bacteria or the lactic bacteria will generate too much acid and will be your cheese will be too sour. Solution: increase the scalding temperature of your cheese. Check the starter dosage. Maybe you use too much. You have to lower your amount. um, Decrease the amount of rennet, lower it. Okay. My advice is use the supplier's recommendation. This is what I always do. I use the supplier's recommendation. Increase your salt content, because the salt protect the cheese from external agents, from external pathogens, and also inactivate the acid production. If you put too low salt, uh, quite a few amount of salt, the bacteria will not feel it, and the bacteria will carry on producing lactic acid. And what we want is to reduce the lactic acid production, and one of the ways putting salt in the curd. Okay. Problem number three: the cheese when it's young have too many holes. Okay, and it's difficult to remove it from the cheese mold. Well, reason: cross contamination, easy. Okay, this is E. coli contamination. When your cheese is young, and you can take it out of the mold because it expanded, your cheese has produced gas, and the most common gas that is produced is hydrogen, because of the E. coli contamination. E. coli is a coliform, and it's very easy to find it, because and it's very easy to detect it, because the holes are very small and they are a lot. If you see a cheese with a lot of holes and very, very small, you have E. coli, or yeah, E. coli contamination, and you need to do something about it. Okay, if you have this type of cheeses with this type of contamination, you might get sick, because E. coli is a coliform, and a coliform is a bacteria that grows when from the droppings of the cows. Okay, so my advice: you need to pasteurize this cheese. If you already have this cheese, you need to pasteurize it. How? Heat it and melt it. If you melt it, you might get away with the E. coli contamination. Okay. Another reason is poor hygiene. Basically, when you have holes in the cheese, is lack of hygiene. As I said before, if the holes are small and a lot, and maybe you use unpasteurized milk. Solution: review your hygiene protocol. This is very important. Okay, pasteurize your milk and use raw milk as fresh as possible. And try to get very good protocols when you are milking your cows. If you have a lot of flies flying around your cows, the flies will stop on the over of the milk of the cow, and the fly first, they stop on the droppings of the cows. So you need to have the area clean. If there is any droppings, you have to pick them up, wash it up. So use disinfectants in the concrete where the cows are, and wash the over of the cows, with a solution. I mean, you have to have good cleaning protocols. So there shouldn't be flies when you are milking your cow. So you need to improve your protocols. Okay, if you're using raw milk, and this milk should be as fresh as possible. You also have to clean your tanks where you are storing your milk. Okay. Problem number 4: cheese, when heated, does not melt, and it doesn't stretch either because it's brittle. The reason: a lot of calcium. Easy. When the cheese doesn't melt, it's because they have a lot of calcium. Okay. And why it have a lot of calcium? Because when the cheese is sorry, when the cheese is fresh, we have all the calcium inside, and the acidity of the cheese will start to reduce the level of calcium. Okay, so if the cheese doesn't melt, it means that we have lack of acidity in the curd. So it hasn't been produced lactic acid that much. So we need to see why we haven't produced lactic acid in our curd when we are making cheese, and because that's the sign. If the cheese doesn't melt, you have a lot of calcium on it, and the calcium, when the cheese has a lot of calcium, doesn't melt. The cheese doesn't melt. So reason number 1: we don't have as too much. We don't have enough acid into the curd. So we need to know why. Maybe lack the bacteria is dead, okay, or the bacteria is dead because of this bacteriophage problem. Bacteriophage is as I spoke before, is attacked by virus. Okay, and maybe the cultures are old and are expired, and of course they're dead. Maybe the milk is contaminated with antibiotics, or you use too much calcium chloride. If you use too much calcium chloride, you're gonna have a lot of calcium beside the calcium that the milk have, the native calcium. So some people, for example, they make mozzarella and with citric acid, and they put calcium chloride, which is over. It's not good. I mean, it's not. That's not the procedure. When we are making mozzarella, we don't use calcium chloride specifically when we are doing it by the chemical method, in the chemical way. I mean, the express method. If we are using lactic culture, we do use calcium chloride, but in a small amount to complete the native calcium of the curd. Okay, but more details in the last Ask the Cheese Doctor, the last show from last week. Okay, solution: let the cheese to mature a little bit, to mature inside the mold. Okay, so it can develop the acidity. The pH should be, for the cheese to stretch, the pH should be between 5.1 and 5.3. Okay. Outside this bandwidth, the cheese will not melt. If the cheese is 4.9 on below and 5.5, 5.4, the cheese might stretch at 5.4, but at 5.5 it will not stretch. So outside this bandwidth, the cheese will not stretch. So you need to be within this bandwidth. Okay. If you have attacked by virus, which is bacteriophage, you need to change your lactic culture. Don't always use the same lactic culture. Change it once sporadically. You can change it once in a while. Okay, and use non-homogenized pasteurized milk. If you use a milk that is homogenized, in theory, you can have. You won't have a stretchy curd. It will be brittle. And if you use an ultra pasteurized milk, you're not gonna make any type of cheese. You're gonna make ricotta when the milk is ultra pasteurized. Another way, you can also use powder milk if you want. This is another solution. I didn't put it here, but you can use powder milk, and let it ripen for one night in the fridge at 4 degrees so it can hydrate, the protein can hydrate correctly, and then you make your cheese as normal. Okay. Do not use calcium chloride in pasta filete cheeses, as I said before, with chemical acidification. Okay. And number 5, the cheese is too dry. The reason, the curd have been cut too small, or maybe you are using an over pasteurized milk and you have a lot of fine. By having a lot of fine, your cheese will be drier. Okay. Maybe your curd, when you cut it and you start doing the second heat, which is is called scalding, your curd was cooked, I mean, too fast, and the temperature was too high. What happens when we are doing when we are making the second heat, when we are heating the second time to make mozzarella or pasta filata cheeses? If the heat is too high, the epithelium from the outside of the casein will dehydrate, and therefore your cheese will not expel the way. So that's why you have to heat at the temperature established by the recipe, which is, for example, 40 up to 105 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty much 39, 40 degrees. Okay. The rennet was shaken too much at the time of cutting. Solution: cut the core in larger cubes, monitor the heating temperature, and stir gently at the beginning and then more vigorously. Okay. Okay, no problem number 6. This is how we left it last week. Now let's go with problem number 6. First problem: the core is too wet. It's the other way around. On the one reason you cut, and the other, in problem number 5, your core was too dry because you cut too small. In the other, here you have to cut smaller so you can get a smaller curd, and your cheese can we can help the cheese to expel more weight. So one reason: your milk has too much fat, and then when the fat helps to stretch the cheese, but also if you have too much fat, your cheese will be too stretchy and too wet. So you need to have a balance. Okay. It doesn't mean that if you put a lot of fat, you're gonna get a stretchy curd. This is it might be correct at a certain point, but your cheese will be too wet, and then you will not be able to stretch it very well, because it's gonna when you heat it, it's gonna be like water. So you need to be careful. You need to have a balance. Okay. When your cheese is too wet, is because also we didn't have enough lactic acid production. Okay, we didn't have enough, so we have to be careful. The curd was heated very quickly, which is another reason. Okay, the curd was heated at low temperatures. Okay, and if it is heated at low temperature, the lactic acid production rate was not as satisfactory as it should be. So what means that you have low. If you have low temperatures, your lactic acid speed, the production of your lactic acid speed will be too slow, and then your curd will be too wet. Okay, so you need to increase the temperature. Well, I'm gonna put you in the solution, and because we didn't have a lot of acid production, this sorry, because you have low temperatures, the temperature helps the syneresis. Syneresis is when the cheese expelled away. So if you have low temperature, you will have little syneresis. If you have higher temperature, your syneresis will increase. Okay, solution, very easy. Increase the production of lactic acid. How? Increasing the temperature. Okay, heating, um, steering the vat. So because when you steer the vat, I mean when you steer the core into the vat, the steering will help syneresis. So your cheese will not get wet. So reduce the fat content, okay? 4.5 max. How do you reduce the fat content? By standardizing the milk. You can standardize by, for example, if you are using 2% skim milk and you want to raise it, but if you put too much cream, you're going to have this problem. Your cheese will be too wet. So you have to have 4.5 max. How? Standardize. How do you standardize? You have to use the Pearson square. If you want to know more about the Pearson square, go to my video, or I have one, Ask the Cheese Doctor, where I speak about the Pearson square. This is how I teach you how to put the right amount of cream or the right amount of skim milk when you are making cheese. If you want to raise the fat content from a lower fat content to a higher fat content, you have to add cream to your milk. But if you want to do the other way around, if you want to have, for example, if you have 4.5% milk and you want to reduce it to 3.4%, you have to add skim milk. Okay? So in this way, you are reducing the fat content. But how much milk do you have to put, or how much cream do you have to add? You have to calculate it. You have to do a mathematical calculation with the Pearson square. Okay, this is the way we do it, and this process is called standardization. This is how you do it. Okay, this is the name of the process, standardization. Another solution is to lengthen increase the heating time. When you are heating the core in your second heat, okay, if you heat too fast, you will dehydrate the casein. So, and your cheese will be wet. So the correct way to do it is to heat the curd into the vat 2 degrees per minute, pretty much Fahrenheit, 2 degrees Fahrenheit per minute. In this way, your cheese or your curd will expel the whey accordingly and will not get dehydrated on the epithelium. So you need to do it correctly, okay, in this way. Another solution, as I said before at the beginning, to cut if the problem number 5 is that your cheese was too dry, is because you cut too small. Here you have to cut, if it's too wet, because your core is too wet, you have to cut in smaller cubes, so to ease or to help the syneresis and to allow the curd to expel the whey. If you cut smaller, you're gonna have a drier cheese. In problem number 5, you had a too dry cheese, because you cut too small, so you need to cut a little bit bigger. That's the other way around. Okay. Raise the temperature of your heating. As I said, but you have to raise your temperature in. You have to be mindful when you raise the temperature. It's not heating at 100 degrees, according to the recipe, and 2 degrees per minute. This is pretty much the rate. Okay, raising the heating temperature up to a certain point, but this certain point will be established by your recipe. Okay, for example, if you are making Parmesan, Parmigiano Reggiano cheese type, we are using thermophilic culture, and we are heating from 40 degrees to 50 degrees. That's the top. That's the ceiling. We will not heat at 60 degrees. No, we just reach 50 degrees. Why? Because at 50 degrees we are helping the syneresis. And the cheese will be, we want, Parmesan is a very hard cheese, it's very dry, and we to help the syneresis, we have to cut very small. We cut at the rice size, very small, because we have to have a dry cheese, and we have to raise the temperature. But if we raise the temperature too fast, the curd will not expel away, and we'll have this problem. The cheese will become too wet. So we have to raise the heating temperature accordingly. Okay. Okay. Problem number 7. The cheese melt, but it becomes yellow and hard. Why? One reason is because it's overheated. And when you overheat the cheese, when you are when we are heating it to stretch it, if you use too much, the temperature is too high, this epithelium will dissolve, and you might lose the cheese. Okay? The cheese will spread, and it will become grainy as well. This is another um, um, tip that I give you. So and it turns yellow because maybe your milk have too much fat, which is the first problem here. Okay, too much fat into the milk. So how to avoid it? Reduce the fat level content. Okay, maybe you have the cheese, as I said before, has lost a lot of moisture when you are heating the curd. So you need to be careful. Sometimes when we are and this happens very frequently when we are heating cheese with the microwave. I use a lot the microwave because for me it's easier than heating water and stuff. Because I make mozzarella bocconcini, and it's not very. I don't do treccia very frequently. I just do bocconcinis, or just the block of mozzarella, which doesn't take much to do. And when I use the microwave, sometimes my curd gets a little bit overheated and it becomes yellow. Okay, how to avoid it? Wrap it up with plastic film or put it in brine. But I'm gonna talk about it later on. Okay, as I said before, if your heating rate is too fast, your cheese will dehydrate on the epithelium of the casein, and will become yellow and hard. Okay, and if you heat too much, as I said before, you might lose your epithelium. This is called the free fat, the free fat of the casein, and your cheese, all the core will become white and all spread it. I mean, when you are kneading it, you will see that the buttermilk is going out. So you need to be careful. Solution: lower your fat content of the milk of your milk, correct? And to do that, you have to standardize. Um, place the cheese in water solution, and put a little bit of calcium chloride. And also another tip that is not here: you have to monitor the pH level of your cheese. Should be pretty much the same, not the same, but close to the pH level of your brine. Okay, the brine is without salt. Only put it in water. Okay, and put it no more than 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, your cheese will absorb the moisture that he needs. Take it out, dry them up, and wrap it up in plastic film. In this way, you will avoid the cheese to become yellow. If you leave it too long, your cheese might get slimy on the outside. So you need to be careful. I never leave my cheeses more than 10 minutes because it might get slimy, and then that's another problem. Okay, so as I said before, wrap it in plastic film. Okay, problem number 8. We're almost close to the time, but anyway, let's finish. um, the cheese, when ripe, has fungus on the rind. Okay. Reason: pH too high, is alkaline. The cross contamination, you have cross contamination with fungi on yeast or mold. You put your salt level is too little, and your cheese maybe is too wet. So you need to be careful. Solution: clean the cheese with vinegar. If you have mold, if the pH is too high, the cheese will develop mold. To avoid it, you have to clean it with vinegar. So the vinegar has a very low pH and will protect the cheese on the outside. So the mold will not develop anymore. Review your aging protocols, your ripening protocols, and increase the salt content. The salt protect the cheese as well as the acidity. It protects the cheese. So if you notice that you have fungus or mold is growing up in the cheese, it's because your level of acidity is low. So you need to raise it up. How? Use vinegar. When you have too much fungus into the cheese, the fungus will start to attacking the rind and will start to metabolizing your rind from the outside to the inside. And your cheese will start to become creamy. So you need to be careful. It will depend on the type of cheese that you're using. If you are using cheeses with mold, this is the normal process. But if you are making, for example, queso fresco, or you are making provolone, and you notice that your provolone is getting fungus, getting blue mold on the outside, if you don't take it out, the blue mold will attack the cheese and will start to liquefy your curd on the inside. So you need to be careful. So you need to clean them up, and your cheese will become sticky. So you need to be careful, and you need to clean this mold, and take it out or brush it up with a nylon brush, or you can clean it with vinegar. I mean, whatever you want to do. Okay. Another solution: heat the curd longer so that it loses moisture. And I reckon we don't have time for problem number 9. We're gonna leave it till here. We're gonna go to problem number 9. I was gonna talk to you about the cheese making course for beginners, but we won't have time because we have to answer all the questions of the questions as well. Okay. A creative manager is saying here, hi, a big hug from Ecuador. Thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate it. A creative manager, I saw you before, and I reckon you went to my Spanish class, but that's good. Thank you for coming. Really, I really appreciate it. And let's go and answer some questions here. Karen Benkowski asked me, I just make a Philly cheese and I left it in an 18% brine solution per the recipe, and it now has crack in it. Can I salvage the cheese? Well, look, Karen. Yeah, you can save the cheese. I mean, your cheese you put in brine. Caffili is a type of cheese. Yeah. Um, Maybe you press it too much, and when you press it too much, the cheese might crack. But anyway, you put in the brine, and your cheese start cracking. Okay. What you have to do is leave it like this. You can to salvage the cheese. I mean, to save the cheese. Sorry, to save the cheese. Take it out from the brine. Let it brine. Salt the cheese in brine as per the recipe, whatever the amount of time that you need to do. Generally, when we are making this type of cheeses, the timing for salting into the brine is the weight in pound multiplied by the height in inches. To put an example, if my cheese weighs 4 pounds and the height is 3 inches, is 4 times 3, 12 hours. Okay, this is pretty much the, the time that you should allow the cheese to salt. After that, I mean, you Take it out from the brine. I know that the cheese is cracked. Doesn't matter. Let it get dry. Protect it from bugs. So cover it. So you because if you leave it like this exposed, maybe you have flies, and the flies will stop on the crack and will put eggs over there. And then eventually you will have little worms on your cheese. So protect it from the bugs, cover it, and leave it there. Or if you want to put it in the fridge, as you said, I reckon you said this in your question, right? Let me see. No, it doesn't. It doesn't say anything. Never mind. Okay. You put it in. Bro, wait. Okay. Now you take it out from the brine. Let it dry. Let dry your cracked cheese, and when it's dry to the touch, you can vacuum pack it. Or if you want to wax it, you can wax it as well. I have had cracked cheeses before. Doesn't matter. Okay. But it's very important that you have to cover these cracks eventually, because then your cheese will become too dry because we have cracks. The rind protect the cheese from getting dehydrated within time. So you need to protect it. How? Vacuum pack it. If you vacuum pack it, your cheese will not lose more moisture. And also, if you wax it, you can wax it, and cheese will become with the right level of humidity or moisture, and you can carry on with the aging time of your cheese. Okay, that's the way I do it. Okay, let's go with the other question. Sari is asking here. Hi, cheese doctor. What are you what are you trying? Sorry. Hi, cheese doctor. What are you trying and true method for making, shaping, and storing butter? I've had milk cows for years, but I rarely make butter because my method seems so drawn out and inefficient. I love to improve the process. Thanks. Okay, look, Terry. You have how many cows do you have? You said that you have milk cows for years. Okay. The thing is that when you are making cheese, when you are making cheese, when you are milking your cows, the fat content of the milk is very high, especially, for example, if you're milking jerseys. The Jersey breed is the one that have the highest fat content. Second one is the Friesen. Both of them. Well, Jersey is a breed. Friesen is another breed. But these are the ones that have more the higher fat content. What I suggest to do is, um, you're not gonna get you're not gonna get much cream, because unless you have 50 cows. If you have 50 cows, you can. There is a machine that take the cream out of your milk, and you can get a good amount. But one way is another way, and this is the way that I used to do, because I bought, by that time I remember, 60 liters, no, 40 liters, no, um, no, 8 liters, 4 gallons, 16 liters, 4 gallons, pretty much. In 15 liters, in 4 gallons, the fat content, okay, your milk will have a level of fat content. But because this is a very low amount of milk, your cream will become very small. Your cream amount will become very small, quite a few, very low amount of cream. So it's not worthy to make butter with this very low amount of cream, because you will pick up, maybe what I do is I just let it rest overnight, especially in the fridge at 4 degrees, and your fat content your fat will pop up to the surface, skimming up, but the amount that you're gonna get is very low, because your fat your fat. I mean, you have a lot of very low amount of milk. If you still want to do butter, go to the supermarket, buy the cream. This is what I do. Okay? I buy, for example, 100 liters of milk, but I use it pasteurized. I already buy pasteurized milk. But when I use raw milk, 100 liters of milk, maybe give me 500 mils of cream. And with 500 mils of cream, I can make maybe 200 or 300 grams of fat, of butter, sorry. So it's not worthy. So it's better. It's easier if you buy the cream already packed from the supermarket or your supplier. You can buy 5 liters of milk of cream. With 5 liters of cream, you can make a lot of butter. Okay, how you do it? You can do it. You can use a churner if you want to make a big amount. Put cream. If you're producing a lot of milk with your cows, use a cream separator, and you can take the cream and put in a churner. These machines are electric, so leave it for 1 hour, 2 hours, will depend, and it will sooner or later will become butter. In this way, you're being more efficient. I don't make butter that much. However, I won a silver medal with one of my butter with truffles. But anyway, that's another story. But if you want to make butter efficiently, use the bullet. Ripen your milk, ripen your cream with bacteria, put the bullet, and when it gets thicker, carry on with the bullet, and then until it breaks. When it breaks, you can do butter. I'm doing it like this now. I also shake, but it takes a while. Okay, that's it. Okay, I have questions here. A big hug from Ecuador. Creative manager, you have to ask me this question in English. I'm going to read it to you. You're saying here that if you can use yogurt to make cheese, because these are the lactic. It will depend of the lactic of. It will depend of the type of yogurt are you using. When you buy the yogurt, they will have the bacteria inside. The name of the bacteria. Some of them are mesophilic, some of them are thermophilic. You need to identify which is which, and then you will decide if you're going to use it or not. Okay. Okay, let's go with another question. We're almost on time. It says here, Valerie, I have 30 liters of full fat whey. What would you make with that recipe? Okay, look, if you have whey, this is called buttermilk whey. You can make ricotta. You can make ricotta. This is the easy. How you make ricotta? Very easy. Grab your whey, heat them up until it reaches 85 degrees Celsius. At 85 degrees, the ricotta will pop up automatically. Skim it, pick them up, and put it into a colander, already pre-dressed with the cheesecloth. Put in a colander, and then skim it, take it out, and you're gonna get your ricotta. This is the first thing. Secondly, well, if you already pick up the ricotta, you can do anything else. But if you want to make more ricotta, you can put, for example, if you are picking 30 liters of whey, put 1 liter of milk into your whey before it reaches the 85 degrees. Okay, so mix it with the whey, and then start heating at 85 degrees. At 80 degrees, put a little bit of vinegar, very slowly. and start stirring very slowly, and your milk will start to pop to the surface. This is the best ricotta that I have ever tried in my life. It's very silky, very smooth, and it's even better than the one that you are skimming when you are heating at 85 degrees. It's even better, more quality, because it's made from fresh milk. And what people do is, first of all, they take their ricotta out, heating at 85. They just fish the ricotta that is being popping out or popping up to the surface, and then they put the milk and do the vinegar and get the best ricotta ever. So, and of course, your yield will become a lot, because when you are making cheese, it's unavoidable to not to lose fat. That's why that's the reason your whey is becoming white and dark. By heating, we are recovering this fat and using it to have ricotta, to sell it, whatever. But if you want to get even more ricotta, you can put the milk. By adding milk, you're increasing your yield, and you can have ricotta, good quality. Okay, that's it, guys. Thank you for coming, Creative Manager. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. You also can go to my show in Spanish if you want to. It's at 9:30 New Zealand time. If you don't have let me put you the links here. If you guys want to learn how to make cheese, let me give you the links here of my cheese course for beginners. It's in Spanish, it's in English, it's in French. No, it's in Spanish, English, Chinese, Arabic, and Hindi. Okay, but I'm gonna put you the links here in Spanish and in English. I'm gonna put all the links so you can have it here. Okay. So I also have my book in English, my book in Spanish. Go to my website if you want to know what I do, drquesero.com, or go to my Instagram at Dr. Quesero. Everything is there, all the links, all stuff. Let me see. Here it is. Okay. Here they are. Okay, these are all the links. Just put it here in the comments. So that's it. Okay, and as I always said, eat cheese, because life without cheese is like a love without a kiss. And remember, this is a new saying that I'm just doing now. You're just one cheese away from success. If you make the right cheese and you market it the correct way, you can make a lot of profit selling one cheese. You just need one cheese to make the difference, to be successful in your life as a cheesemaker. Okay? You don't have to make many cheeses. You're just one cheese away from success. See you next week, and thanks for coming. Bye-bye.
Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesos colombianos y venezolanos, todo hecho en tu casa, con sabor zuliano y calor humano. Los quesos en casa tienen vitaminas, rápidos de hacer en cualquier cocina. Tan fácil como pelar mandarinas. Quesitos en